this is not just another regional peace deal. This is a geopolitical earthquake. Now imagine this. While Vladimir Putin is getting ready for a high-profile meeting with Donald Trump in Alaska to talk peace in Ukraine, Mr. Trump has already stolen a march on him somewhere else. In the Caucasus we are talking about. Yes, that often overlooked corner of the world, wedge between Russia, Iran and Turkey has suddenly become the latest flashpoint in the great game of global politics. Now, what happened there? Let's talk about that. The United States under Trump's direct watch has brokered a surprise peace deal between Azerbaijan and Armenia, two bitter rivals who had been at each other's throat for nearly 40 years. Now think it like Kashmir issue or maybe Israel-Palestine dispute. A bloody war and seemingly unsolvable one. Yet, against all the odds, the deal is done, hostilities will stop, diplomatic ties will be restored, and in the fine print lies the real game changer. A shiny new transport link called Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity, or also we can call it TRIP. Now, don't let the name fool you here. This is not just a road. This is a 43 kilometers lifeline of influence. Running through southern Armenia, it connects mainland Azerbaijan to its distant Nakhchivan territory, bypassing both Russia and Iran entirely and plugging directly into Turkey. Now from there, pipelines, railways, fiber optic cables can actually flow freely into Europe, the Middle East and Africa. American companies get 99 years exclusive development rights for this. Turkish strategies get a dream transit hub. And Washington? Well, Washington plants its flag right on Iran's border. Now for Azerbaijan, this means faster oil and gas exports without begging Russia or even Iran for the permission. Now for Armenia, it means infrastructure projects and trade after decades of isolation. But for Moscow, for Tehran and for Beijing, this is a strategic nightmare. Russia loses control over yet another piece of its former Soviet Union backyard. Iran is cut out of transit revenues and squeezed out of routes to the Black Sea. And China, which has poured billions into its belt and road projects over here, will now have to rely on the corridor run and potentially shut down by the United States at will. Well, let me tell you, furious doesn't even begin to describe it. A senior advisory to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has vowed to turn the so-called Trump corridor into a graveyard. Now, Tehran also warns that NATO, with Turkey as its local partner, is trying to slither between Iran and Russia like a whipper. Well, the fear is simple here. The fear is that the US troops and military gears could one day be stationed right there in Iran's backyard. In other words, what Mr. Trump has done is kill multiple birds with one stone. He has weakened Russia in the Caucasus while Putin is distracted in Ukraine, boxed Iran out of the region, and made China's access to Europe dependent on American goodwill. And all of this comes before that Alaska meeting with Putin even begins. But this is geopolitics, not a fairy tale, right? Today's victory can be tomorrow's liability. Allies turn into enemies, corridor of peace can become flashpoint of wars, and no one can guarantee that Armenia and Azerbaijan won't go back to fighting. Well, for now, though, one thing is certain here, that in the great game, Mr. Trump has just played a move that has everybody talking about it.